What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about companions, so your friends, once again, in Hogwarts Legacy. We did this like a year plus ago, so I think it's about time we come back into it. We obviously have the state of play to back us up, and I want to thank Fantasy Thinker Fan for suggesting this. As I've said before, if you guys just want to throw out ideas, that you want to see videos on, I'll shout you out, and we'll go from there. Leave anything you want to see really in the comments below. We got many months that we can be doing this, so I'm all ears. And he said, I'd like to hear your thoughts on companions after the state of play. How many you think there'll be total, the extent to which we'll be able to hang out with them outside of the quest, maybe spend holidays together or play mini games together, how deep you're expecting their personal storylines to be, etc. So again, thank you a lot for the question. And this is a tough one, right? So I don't remember, and this is actually kind of fun for me when I do this, I don't remember my original answer. So I did this, had to have been at least over a year ago, maybe a little less, but we talked about friends, how I think the friends are going to kind of factor into the game. So right now, I heavily get the sense that you're going to get one friend from each house. That could very well be wrong. I know I said that in the live stream of the state of play. I said, I believe they showed, 3 out of the 4 friends, so we're missing, 1. And, could you have 2 from each house? Definitely. But I don't know. And you could absolutely use the argument of they don't have to show you everything in that state of play, right? Just because they didn't show it doesn't mean it's not in the game. Totally get that. I 100% understand that argument. It's a very good argument, okay? So they could have more. I would say for sure, though, I would limit it to 2, not because I wouldn't want more, but again, we've talked about this before, the limitations of the game. The game can only have so much. I'm just trying to be rational when thinking about what the game can actually give me. I think 1 friend is fine. I think 2 friends from each house is even better, but if I had to bet on it, okay, if I was a betting man, I would say 1 friend from each house. All right, now, I do remember this. When I talked about this last time, I had talked about maybe you limit which ones you can actually be friends with. So it actually made more sense to me back then to say, well, maybe you could have 2 friends from each house, because hear me out. If you're a Gryffindor, and I guess it does depend too on how you act, if you're good or bad. Maybe you, just like in conversations we talked about a few days ago, using Avada Kedavra, can you limit that? Can you say, well, actually, you're too good of a person, morality-wise, in this game. You can't use that spell because it's too evil for how good you are. And games have done that. So, could you do that? So back then, when I talked about the friends last time, it was basically the same. It was an extension. It was saying, well, if you're so good, and say the friends in Slytherin are so bad, does the game have a built-in thing where you literally cannot make friends with them because they won't talk to you? You're too good you're literally too good for them. So can you do that? Now, clearly, I believe, based off this state of play, that is not the case. That's absolutely not. Now, you may have moments, I think, where you can build your relationship or halt it or, stall it where it's really not going to go anywhere. I do think that'll come up, okay, in terms of choices, what you're able to do, dialogue, verbal, right, with these characters. But I do think they will all be very easily accessible off the beginning. You know what I mean? You're not going to have, again, if you only have 4 friends max, you're not going to have one of them be blocked off based off of morality when there's that few. You're just not going to do it. So, and I also think maybe also to the detriment of having more than 4 friends, these are people that we know they can come with you to some things. We don't know really the extent of it, but you're basically going to be able to have them tag along with you in some circumstances. So now we have to think, all right, so you don't have 4 playable characters. You have 4, characters that can kind of come along with you. And they each have maybe their own fighting style, their own spells that they each use. The more you add, again, that's more that you're asking from the developers. That's more than you're asking for the game. So actually, even using that gameplay, combat, fighting, that kind of logic, that actually I feel like does help the argument that there's going to be fewer rather than more. So I do think they'll just be those 4. The extent to which we'll be able to hang out with them outside of quests, I hope that was the second part of the question, by the way. I just went back to it just to refresh my memory. I hope that it's a good amount of time. I hope that you're really, because these are probably going to be 4 of, and then maybe you can throw in some professors, But you have to think about any open world game. You are the center. And actually, they've made that very clear. Like, you are the most important thing. So I that's very good that you're very selfish in this game and that the game wants you to be. But the game also, you need to have kind of that established side cast that's with you. That those are your. Think to Witcher, think to Mass Effect, think to Dragon Age, think to Bully, think to Red Dead, GTA, like any of them. You're the most important, but you have like a group of people that are reoccurring. They're not, and I've said this before, you can have more friends. I hope that there's many kids, I literally mean teenagers, in these classes that you will be able to talk to. But they're kind of one and done things. They're characters that have very limited dialogue. They have just a couple sentences, a couple different scripts written for them, and that's all they can say, right? So if you kind of just spam talk to them, you're going to start to repeat audio or dialogue, right? I hope there's many of those. But in terms of who you're going to be able to talk to in depth, that's really going to make this game, like literally make it, 4 kids, 4 friends that you can go as far in depth with as you want, and maybe a couple professors, right? Fig, a couple others, and that's really it. So, what I mean? So with that being said, now what does that mean? I do think that means you're going to be able to do a pretty good amount with them. Now, it does sound very much like they're, and I think this was there were people that responded to them and said, maybe you do this, maybe you do that. To me, it very much screams, and again, I would just bring in Mass Effect because it's like one of my favorites, and I have the best memory of Mass Effect over a lot of other games. It sounds like you're going to have to do almost a loyalty mission. So in Mass Effect, remember, there were loyalty missions for characters where you could talk to them, they'd be fine with you, but you couldn't advance your relationship in them, and you couldn't, well, it was literally like their story. You literally did a mission for them that was about them. It was personal to them. It affected them. It affected how they thought of you because you did the mission. They like you more, and it allowed you to continue your relationship with them, and that's a common thing. Again, Mass Effect's just the example I'm bringing in. So I very much think that's, and in fact, the State of Play, I think, does reference that like you're going to be able to follow through basically a quest with them that is about them. Well, you're going to probably learn about them. You'll learn about who they really are, as a person, and it's something, again, them centric. It's not you. You're not being selfish in this case. It's on them. So I guess the question is, what else can you do besides that? But, good suggestions in terms of like, well, can you play Wizard's Chess in this game? Can you play Wizard's Chess against these 4 specific people? That's a easy thing. Just throw in there that can help build that relationship. I really do feel like they're going to have a pretty big part to play because, again, you're not going to be a loner. What I mean? Like the game, I guess there will be circumstances, even in like Harry Potter, like there's going to be circumstances where like he's the hero, he's doing things basically by himself, but like he's not alone 24/7. What I mean? There's always people around him, his kind of centric, the core centric cast. So like you're going to have that in this as well. So I hope they do other stuff like spending holidays. They said, like, couldn't that be cool? Like doing a Christmas exchange gift, and it's a cutscene. You do like a cutscene on Christmas, and you're doing it with whatever common room you have. So if you're Ravenclaw, whatever, you do that, and then that friend, they're there. You know what I mean? And again, it depends on how far you're going to be able to take it. I don't know if they're going to, like, we've talked about like loving relationships, like kissing and hugging and stuff. Like, I don't know how far they would take that. Could you take that with people outside of these 4, or would it be these 4 that you're playing around with? Like, are these the only 4 that you're allowed to do? And I guess I answered that last part, how deep you're expecting their personal storylines to be. To be honest, not far. Just like the one main quest that could be 20, 30, 40 minutes, and then dialogue throughout your relationship with them in casual conversations or when they're battling you. And don't forget, like, if we do take Mass Effect, right? In Mass Effect, like when you take people along with you on missions, like they will have unique dialogue that another person, if you took them, they would have different dialogue about the same situation. And that just, you know what I mean? That to the game, that doesn't do anything, but to us, it just kind of humanizes them, like makes them individuals, so they could easily do that. And that's how I think we would build up these characters. You can take one. You only take one. So if you take the girl from Gryffindor, whatever, right, and you just take her, you'll get her full storyline of that quest, but it'll only be, 30, 40, 50, whatever, and that's it. That's the bulk of her personal life you're going to know, and then the rest of her is really just to compliment you, and not like giving you thanks and like kissing your feet, like compliment in the different way, right? Where it's just she's gonna be there, she's gonna add her own unique dialogue when you are in a situation just like that, and I think that's fine. So I'm very excited. Again, this is something that I do think we have a pretty good amount of knowledge of, but we don't know the full picture, and there's a lot more, gaps to fill in. So it's going to be cool to see, what we learn over the next several months and then when the game comes out. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Again, leave suggestions that you want to see in the comments as well, and I'll get to them as fast as I can, or as many videos as I can. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.